Great. I think we are live. And if everyone can hear us out there, very, very big and warm welcome. We're excited to have you on board. If you can hear us, just pop a hello into the chat box and just say we can hear you. Bogdan says, hey. David says, Chicago here. Sandile says, hey. Tom, hello. Jerome, we're here. Italy here. Please be part of the crew. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Aloha from Hawaii. Hello, UK. It's
global audience. My goodness. Every time zone you can imagine.
Shota, Japan is at 4 a.m.
Wow.
Paul, good day from Australia.
Amazing.
Romania. Yeah, Romania is the next.
I think we better get on and give them some value. What do you think, Matt?
Fantastic. Okay, great. I'm getting all the people saying that they can hear us now. So we are officially live for the second Ask Peter live call. And a very big warm welcome to everybody that's taken the time to come and spend some time with us today. We're really excited to have you on board and to really share the insights that Peter's been working through for a very large part of his life. So quickly, a little introduction as to who I am. My name is Matthew Clark, and most of you won't know me. But I've been through the Millionaire Business School twice. Not only am I a fan of Peter Sage and a follower of his work, but I've been through a lot of the teachings myself. So tonight, what we're going to do is that I've asked Peter to give us. Sorry, let me go back a step here. So I've actually attended the MBS twice. All right. Very simple. Is that first time I went there, I learned the strategies that allowed my business to grow my sales by 250%. And we run an online marketing company, so when you're setting up people's sales funnels, it gets really fun, especially when you're doing it for other people and not only yourself. We put a strategy in to get more staff in, which allowed me to design myself out of the equation. And because we put in a raving fan policy, our customers are now referring business to me on a daily basis. So the second time I went to the MBS, I actually learned and refined the strategy that we put in place, which was a 12-month strategy, and we now have plans to actually take over Africa. And the first tour is happening on the 25th of November. So we plan on ending this year, 2015, on an absolute high. And everything that we have going is definitely in the process. And I must say, Pete, just a big thank you to all the strategies and tools that you've shown me, because without that, I wouldn't really be where I am today.
Pleasure, Matt. Absolute pleasure.
Okay, great. So we're going to start talking about an event that's coming up. All right. So before we get to the questions, and I've already asked Pete to keep, because we had over 189 questions submitted. It's a lot of questions to get through. I've asked Peter to keep the answers as succinct as possible while giving as much value as possible so that we can get through as many questions as we can in the time that we've got. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to take a moment to talk about the Millionaire Business School, which is Peter's flagship event, which is the event that I've taken twice. And there is actually an event coming up on the 20th to 22nd of November. Now, I'm letting you know this up front so that you know that this is not just a sales pitch that's going to go all the way through. There is an opportunity here for you. And before we get to the questions, Pete, I'd really like to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about the MBS and also why the alumni, the people that have gone before, keep on coming back for more?
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a lot of the alumni on the actual call, which I'm again very blessed and grateful for. So, guys, if you're there, give a little shout out. And you'll probably see I've actually got one of our MBS Millionaire Business School manuals here as well. So any alumni that's there, you may want to get these out and sort of review some of the notes as we go through some of the questions, because as I saw some of the questions that were coming through, that they all pertain very much to a lot of the syllabus that we put together. And the reason we have so many people reattend that, to be fair, is because when I created the MBS, I wanted to create something that was a living and growing course, that's always developing, especially as I study and learn and practice new technologies, because I integrate them into the school And it really makes it a continual learning environment. And I really encourage the alumni to come back for several reasons. One, obviously, is because repetition is the best way to learn and apply. I think we all know that. Second is you're always picking up new things. You're a different person when you leave. So, who the person is that reattends is somebody a little different. Also, you can be like a coach or a senior person to some of the first-time attendees, and we've all known that one of the best ways to learn something is to teach it. So it cements it in for yourself. It's a great opportunity to network. And more importantly, we get to rework the plan that you left with the first time, like with you, Matt. And say you walk away with a 12-month plan, and when you come back, you get to reassess that from where you currently are, rework that, and really align for where you're moving forward to. So that's why I like the alumni to reattend. That's why a lot of them do reattend. And I'm excited for this event, which is a week tomorrow, would you believe? Because we've got a lot of new good stuff that's coming in here, and I'm keen just to try and use the time and honor the time we have right now to try and give a little insight into some of the strategies and insights that really go into making up the MBS, so we can answer some of the questions for people that either can't make it this time or really just want to go out and try some of the things and watch the effectiveness of this in their own life.
Fantastic. So, Pete, will you walk us through the what you actually cover at the MBS and what is it all about? Just very quickly.
I mean, feel free to start asking some questions, because really, I think a lot of the questions will be pertain to a lot of the things that I can draw out from the MBS. One of the things I like to do on calls like this is give some of the best insights and strategies, so people get a feel for it. But essentially, it's a 3-day event, and it's not a 3-day event like most people normally go through a 3-day event. We're talking 40 hours of content, 95% of which is delivered personally by myself, and so it's a real personal event. Again, I really get up close and personal. It's great to be able to talk and work with people one-on-one in the room, or shake their hand, or hear stories. And I do this because I have so much passion for wanting to help people be able to move their businesses forward. That's why I structured it. But it's a 3-day event. Day 1 is all psychology, and I start there, and I think we'll probably start with some questions around that as well, Matt. But we start there because that's the most important foundation for any entrepreneur. It's not the how-to. The how-to is a case of just learning strategies. Implementing those strategies is what's important. Now, I've often said that if you don't shift or reinvent who you are in relation to business or money or opportunity or your sense of self-worth, then what tends to happen is you'll go on a wild goose chase to learn new business opportunities or strategies or techniques or skill sets. But what you'll essentially do is you will learn new ways of earning about the same amount of money, because we tend to fall into a level of self-worth that is reflected in our day-to-day life. So if you don't raise your own sense of self-worth, if you don't change your inner game, you're just going to put a different coat of paint on the outer game. And that's really why we start so much on psychology. And I really want to see if I can share some of the insights and strategies around that today to be able to help people on the call. Day 2 and 3, we talk business. We get down to business on how to really implement some of the best strategies on top now of a reinvented sense of psychology. And that strategy is on how to grow your business 10x, how to take advantage of opportunities, how to manage time in relation to your busy life, how to hire staff, how to resource up, how to use strategy versus tactics, as you were mentioning that. All of the kind of stuff in a syllabus that really guides you through a conveyor belt process so that you know what you're going to do, and then culminates in a plan for you to be able to leave and move forward with. So that's the essence of what the MBS really is. It is a process. It's not just a seminar. It's not just a workshop. It's an experience, and that's really why so many people find it so powerful.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. Well, let's get into the questions then, Pete, because we've got quite a lot to get through today, and I'm sure the people are dying to hear the answers to their questions as well.
Sure.
So we've got a question from Kevin here. What are some ways to improve your physiological or psychological response to negative life events?
Okay, and again, I'm just in awe of the great questions. How do you improve your response to negative life events? Now, without going deep into each of these questions, which I can do, but I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to give you some hints, some pointers, and some surface level strategies to be able to make a difference with quickly. But when it comes to reaction to negative life events, here's one thing I will share. from a psychological perspective, the event is not the issue. Your reaction to what you believe that event is, or caused, or did, or meant, is always the issue. And the further we go away from the event in time, the less impact that usually has, or the less opportunity it has to impact you, because you always can make new decisions in the moment. But if you're playing the same movie over and over again and giving it the same negative meaning, then you're wiring neurons in the brain to condition yourself to be triggered, so that every time you hear a certain phrase, or remind yourself of a certain experience, let's say you had a business that failed, or a relationship that failed, or a traumatic experience, every time you give that meaning and revisit that, you deepen that. So you have to shift the context. One of the fastest ways for doing that is to ask yourself better questions to change the focus. In other words, what's something about that event I can be grateful for that I hadn't noticed at the time, that in hindsight, looking back, has given me some level of capital, some level of experience, some level of resource, even if it's to be able to help or be empathetic with others that have experienced the same event. So yeah, it's a choice. We have a choice when it comes to meaning. We don't have a choice when it comes to events that have happened. That's done. Trying to change anything back there is a waste of time and energy. So if you had a relationship or a business that failed, then your only situation at that point is, what do you do with that? I put a video up on my YouTube channel that says how to get over the events of the past. If you want to go and take a look at that, I strongly encourage it, because I give some examples there of exactly the process to go through and what you can actually do. But ultimately, I'll say this: it is your resistance to the actual experience that is giving it most of the hold over you. What we resist is really a level of suppression. It's blocking something. I say anxiety is the emotion of growth, providing you don't resist it. If you resist it, it becomes catabolic and takes you down. So if you've got something that is negative consistently, it's like watching a movie, or a lousy movie, that made you feel upset. Would you go watch that movie again? Well, no, of course you wouldn't. But why would you do that in your own movies, in your own mind? In other words, change the movie. Start looking at other things that inspire you or have better levels of input. But if you're replaying the past, and all the past ever can be, by the way, if you realize it, is a present time memory of an event that you perceive you experienced from the brain and the imagination's perspective, filling in most of the blanks as to what it meant based upon your relationship to that event. Now again, I'll say that once more, and then we'll move on. The past can only ever be a present time memory of an event that you experienced, with your brain and imagination filling in most of the blanks based upon your relationship to that event. Two men sat behind prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars. The actual condition is identical. How you choose to perceive or move forward from that is everything. So stop playing lousy movies in your mind. Look for something that you can do as a gift that came from that. We're shaped by the dark squares on the chessboard, not the light squares on the chessboard. And so be thankful for that, and be able to move forward and choose a more empowering meaning.
Fantastic, Pete. Okay, so we've got a question from Dave. Does Peter have any strategies or exercises that lean into discomfort for people who have been conditioned to be risk adverse, often knowing but no doing?
Yes. Again, another great question. For people that, what I say, have a harder ability to handle uncertainty, then you don't need to take big steps at a time, because it gets too scary. If you're in a job and you've never started a business before and you feel like you really want to, but you're not quite sure where to go, that's not the time to walk into the boss's office, hand in your resignation, and tell him he can take his job and give it to somebody who deserves it more, or would like it or appreciate it more. So do baby steps. The best way to train yourself to experience uncertainty is to go to where the fear is and start taking actions on things that previously have stopped you, or you've had a sense of anxiety around. If you're scared of heights, go do a skydive. Get around a support group or a peer group and do it together. Do it for a reason bigger than you. Go raise some money for charity. If you're scared of speaking in public, go and join Toastmasters. Go get some level of certainty around that and realize that the one thing that was scaring you was pretty much a ghost. Start expanding your comfort zone and get out of the one you're currently in. Because, my friends, if you only knew what a comfort zone was, you'd only be too keen to jump out of it. It is so inconsistent with your capabilities of a human being to be able to give your gift to the world in a way that then reflects back a lifestyle that you deserve. So, what can you do? Write down the top 5 things you're afraid of and start writing down what you can do to start experiencing more of that. And it's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't need a formula or an algebraic equation to make it happen. Yeah, you're scared of speaking, go speak. Yeah, you're scared of heights, go jump out of an airplane. Yeah, if you're scared of starting a business, then set a deadline and for when you're going to leave, and share that with the people that are important to you that can support you in that. So they'll encourage you towards it, and you'll build momentum. Start building up either a second income, so that you don't have as much uncertainty to face when you let go of the job that you want to escape from. So it's about going to where your fear is. Robin Sharma says it very well. He says, the fears that we don't face become our limits. And I couldn't say it a better way.
Fantastic. I think that that wholly answered that question. All right, so we've got a question from Mick. I'm always overwhelmed by all the information I need to know and study to succeed in business, i.e. internet marketing, social media, self-development. I study courses and forget them. What's the fastest way to progress and not forget all the info and not to be overwhelmed?
Okay, let me back up for a second, and this is something that we go into quite heavily on day one. One of the most common patterns that I see, and this ties into the previous question about your inability to handle uncertainty. Most people are following a pattern whereby they're trying to use skills to replace certainty. In other words, I don't know what to do, but if I learn enough, then I'll have the certainty that'll allow me to take the steps forward. So we go off on a treasure hunt trying to accumulate skills. The challenge with that is that skills will never replace certainty. Why? You're looking for something external to fill a void that is internal. So if you are looking for skills to replace certainty, what will happen is you'll acquire more skills, but you still won't feel as if you have what it takes to apply them. And what you'll do is you'll blame the external for that. So, it must mean I just got to take the course again, or I've got to go and sit the advanced course, or the trainer course, or train the trainer, or train the trainer's trainer. Or you see it in academia whereby, once I get my my O-levels or my college degree, then I'll be fine, I'll be set up. Oh, well, I get that, and now I need a university degree, and I get that, and I still don't feel as if I have everything, so I'm going to take the MBA, and then I take the PhD. And you see this progression of people on a hamster wheel looking to skills to give them certainty. And certainty comes from a different place. So for a start, the one thing I would suggest is that check in as to why you're doing all these courses. Because if you're doing it to try and get certain enough that you'll go and be able to apply and be successful, I've got news for you. You give me somebody with half of your current skill set and twice the certainty, and they'll produce a result. They won't need memory techniques to try and learn everything. They won't try and be learning organizational techniques so that they can manage all of the information coming in without being overwhelmed. None of that. It's barking up the wrong tree in my experience. Instead, start acknowledging the fact that I need to go and give myself the certainty first. How do you do that? Get a big enough why, get clarity around direction. Once you have that, you can start layering on top of the skills that you require specifically to go and apply it. But you won't need those skills in order to know that you're on the right path. So if you can get to that place first, then great. Go out to the seminars, personal development industry, invest in yourself, absolutely. The price of tuition for your informal education will give you a much better return on investment than any tuition that you could pay for a formal education. That I don't think anybody's arguing with these days. So if you have a situation whereby you're then getting overwhelmed, the best thing I can suggest is to chunk up. Start, rather than breaking down all the tiny little things and being overwhelmed, which leads to confusion, which then leads to inaction. In other words, you learn so much by going to all these courses that you become overwhelmed, get confused, and do nothing. Far better to focus on one specific thing, chunk up to a bigger picture. Yeah, what am I learning here? If I'm going on an online marketing course, then don't try and drill down into every tiny little bit and focus on it. Put it into specific chunks, specific sections. See where those chunks or sections fit into your business. When it's time to then drill down into the application of that, it becomes easier, but it's like a Shire horse with the blinkers on. You're focused in one direction. It doesn't mean to say that there's nothing else there. But if you start looking at all over the place, you're not going to be focused on where you need to go. So at that point, again, we can talk through things like memory techniques, or we can talk through things like organizational principles. But essentially, I would ask myself a quality question. There's a quality question that if you're on the webinar right now, write this down, tattoo it on the inside of your eyelids. I say that about a few things, so you may need some space and write in small writing, but essentially, this is something that you want to help guide you and prevent you from being overwhelmed. And the question is this: what one thing can I do right now that, subject to doing it, would make everything else either easier or unnecessary? I'll say that again. What one thing can I do right now in relation to business, health, relationships? Well, it doesn't matter. That's a qualifying question. What one thing can I do right now that, subject to doing it, would make everything else either easier or unnecessary? And that question comes out of a book called The One Thing, which really allows you to focus and stop being overwhelmed. So if you are in that kind of crazy, everything at me, spinning a million plates sort of part of your life, start chunking up, start getting focused on levels of application, and start qualifying that through that kind of question.
Yeah, fantastic, Pete. And the next question I was going to read, I think you pretty much answered that already, just with that one technique that you've given us. Andre asked, well, how do I know if I'm taking on too many different goals?
Too many different goals. Okay, man who chases two rabbits usually goes hungry. There's an old Chinese proverb there. And the temptation behind that, again, we come back to psychology, guys, every single day. This is why we start day one on foundational principles of understanding who you are when you look in the mirror. Peeling back the layers of the onion so that you don't run off on a wild goose chase for the next 6, 12, 18 months, only to realize that there's no gold at the end of that rainbow. Far better to put in the corrections of thought now, and then at least have certainty that whatever strategy, business idea, marketing technique, or whatever you're applying, is in congruent line with your bigger mission, your sense of purpose, who you are, how you apply it, what your skill sets are, etc., rather than covering up. So when I was running businesses in my early mid-20s, I had 8 different companies all running at the same time, all with different offices, staff, budgets, overheads, forecasts. It was massively overwhelming. I was spinning so many plates. And the reason I was spinning so many plates wasn't because I was a good businessman. I wasn't. It was because I felt that I had to keep spinning plates in order to qualify as being successful, in order to not let go of an opportunity here that looked really good, or another shiny object there that, I think I can bolt that in. The underlying reason behind it was insecurities. The underlying reason I was trying to start so many businesses is because with the ones that I had, I still didn't feel successful. So if you're setting too many goals, ask yourself the question, why am I really setting this? Is it because I'm passionate about being able to achieve this, because it's part of what I feel really gets me up early in the morning and keeps me up late and gives me inspired energy? Or am I trying to motivate myself to hit many different goals because I think that by doing that, I'll fit the pictures of what is expected as a successful entrepreneur, and I'll finally have the certainty that I can be wealthy or whatever it is. One idea, one business executed flawlessly is more than enough with 7 billion potential customers on the planet to make you wealthy. Don't think you have to start 5 different businesses just because you want the label or the ego of serial entrepreneur. I used to say I was a serial entrepreneur, and that sounded more like the fact that I was selling Cheerios and Weetabix. So it's not about that. Being a smart entrepreneur, being a focused entrepreneur, is far more powerful than trying to be a serial entrepreneur. I'll give you that from experience. It's like managing property. I had a very successful property business, and I had dozens and dozens of properties all over, and I learned a very big lesson by one of the original gurus in that industry, a guy called Robert Allen, that wrote a book called Nothing Down back in the early 90s. And I remember reading his chapter in his book on managing your own property. So I was wondering, do I manage it myself? Do I pay money for an agent to do it? How do I work? And he summed it up in one phrase. He said, here's the biggest lesson I've ever learned on managing my own property. Don't. Here's the biggest lesson, guys, I learned on managing multiple businesses. Don't. Get one, make it sing, dance, drive like a Ferrari, hum like a well-oiled machine. Now you can bolt different things into that business, but if you've got, say, too many goals, too many projects, too many businesses, pick one that lights you up, right, and go build that, and you will be more successful than trying to run around hungry, wondering why you can't catch 2 rabbits at once.
Absolutely, and Feli's asked a fantastic question, and he wants to know, what was your most potent aha moment in your life?
What's the most potent aha moment?
Yeah. See, there's been a couple.
I don't think you ever get one, and I think each of them are ahas in different areas of your life for different reasons at different times. But trying to get into or tune into the nature of the question, I think I'll share this. When I was 25 and running my multiple businesses like a crazy idiot, not being a very nice person to work for, barking orders because I was micromanaging, and making money, losing money, chasing my tail. I was working 130 to 133 hours a week on a regular basis. My body definitely wanted more sleep than it got. I yawned for a living. I would apologize going into meetings in advance in case I fell asleep. And I'd literally tell them, it's not because you're boring, guys, it's because I'm exhausted. But I was there, balls to the wall, grindstone all the way. The biggest aha moment I got was driving home from the office at 2 o'clock in the morning, as usual, to get my 3.5 hours sleep, to be back in the office for, getting on for 5, so I could do an hour's personal development, then go to the gym 6 till 7, then be back in the office for 7:30 before the zoo arrived, and then I was firefighting fires till 7, 8 o'clock at night before getting all my work done until 2 in the morning. That was my life, 7 days a week, and I'd do it 7 days for about 2 to 3 months, and then sleep for probably 3 days straight as my body just gave up. But I pushed, and I was in the mentality of buy me all the way. I was swimming upstream like you wouldn't believe. And I was driving home one night, 2 o'clock in the morning, fell asleep, and hit an intersection, what we call an island here in traffic circle here in England, at about 60 miles an hour. And surprise, surprise, it woke me up. But it woke me up in many different ways. And the aha that I got was, whoa, hang on a minute. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I building a monster that's trapping me for what? I don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. I don't want to spend my entire life missing my son and daughters growing up. I don't want to I don't want to live in poverty. I want to be able to go out and stuff, but where's the limit? What am I really doing this for? Am I doing it to prove to people that I'm good enough? People that don't care? People that are too busy trying to prove to me the same thing, but I'm too busy to notice because I'm focusing on myself? That's the game that most people play and don't realize. So that was a big aha moment. The other big aha moment, that was in my early 20s. In my late 20s, early 30s, I'd say the biggest aha moment, which ties into that, was that my primary driving needs were the need for significance, which is essentially ego, the need to feel that I'm good enough, the need to be recognized, the need to try and show you the world that I can stand up and be counted and all about me. Significance was probably my driving need. Variety was a big need for me as well at the time, hence why I had so many different ideas and businesses. But I shifted it, and I shifted it from significance, i.e. focusing on myself, egocentric, to focusing on growth and contribution. Focus on how can I help others. When I made that a higher driving need than significance, everything shifted. Business went in a completely more positive direction. Stress levels fell through the floor. The right people showed up. The right deals got done. I wasn't working 130 hours a week anymore. It was happening. Just by taking my need for significance that was at the top and my need for growth and contribution, which was down here, too busy being significant for that, and actually moving them above. And when I did that, everything shifted. My entire life shifted. And that was probably my biggest aha moment. And I'm just grateful and blessed that I had that insight around about, you know, my late 20s, early 30s, rather than, unfortunately, I see some people go to their grave still chasing that level of significance. So, you know, I'd say that was probably my biggest aha moment, and I'm grateful it happened.
Yeah, and it's you know, one of the things that you showed me at the MBS was the 8 forces that govern what we do. So that really hit home for me as well, to find out, you know, what actually drove me to do what I was doing, and you know, it actually shows up why you are where you are and how to take the next step if you realize it, if you're aware of it, and if you're enlightened. So it was really, really powerful.
Thank you, Matt. And again, you're a typical entrepreneur, young, got some energy, want to go forward. Yeah, started a little business and wanted to grow it, looking for strategies. Didn't really come looking or expecting to look in the mirror at a deep level. But
absolutely.
You know, yeah, and it's a bit of a sucker punch. Yeah, I say this openly for everybody on the call. But it's a bit of a sucker punch, yeah, for people coming in, because most of people come to the Millionaire Business School because they want to be a millionaire. Yeah, and I teach you strategies on how to do that without a shadow of a doubt. You'll get more than enough strategies to make you wealthy. That's easy. But as I said earlier, it's who implements that is the only variabling factor. And if you aren't at that level, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, why you're self-sabotaging, why you know all what to do but you don't do what you know, then everything else is pointless. Yeah, that's when you're knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. Yeah, you waste your money, you end up with an expensive notebook, and the self-help you were seeking becomes shelf-help until the next seminar and back on the hamster wheel. So yeah, it's peeling back that layer of the onion and taking your brain out and putting it on paper so you can go, oh my God, that's why I do what I do. I never knew that was driving me at that level. Is a massively powerful thing, and being able to shift those needs around consciously rather than by default is another big part of what we do on day one.
Fantastic. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and start moving into some business questions, because there have been quite a couple and people are sending more and more through all the time.
Sure.
So the first question comes from Tapiwa. What advice would you give to a risk-averse person who wants to transition from work to entrepreneurship?
We've kind of covered that in one of the earlier questions, I think, in terms of people that are moving forward. I mean, there's certain steps to take. Yeah, you need to have certain ducks in a row that are specific and common sense around the business. In terms of the idea, the research, the potential marketplace, your price points, your feedback. One of the biggest challenges I see with potential entrepreneurs that leave to go off and chase an idea is that they're looking at it through their own eyes, thinking that people they can sell their product to all these people. And again, another one of my aha moments in business was realizing that you don't sell anything. People choose to buy. So if people are choosing to buy, they're looking through their lens, not your lens. Every business owner is in love with their own baby. Every parent thinks their baby is the cutest baby in the world. To other people, they're not the cutest. Theirs is the cutest. So having an idea that is a little more researched outside of your own level of myopic focus, as much as you think it's great, is something to definitely take into account. Knowing how to position yourself so that you don't just say jump out of the airplane and realize you don't actually have a parachute. I'm a big believer in jumping out of the plane because you've got to shoot, but jumping out of the plane. Whereas if you're in a business right now, you want to start a business, you need to have some level of game plan that will allow you to move forward. Now, flexibility is key, because in the military sense, they say that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. A business plan is great, but most business plans are all the same when it comes to effectiveness in the marketplace. That's why, again, repeat alumni are always updating their plan in relation to where their current situation is. But a business plan is only as good as the people implementing it. I think the phrase is the enemy of every good plan is execution, or poor execution, should I say. But being able to have a plan of knowing where you're going and the steps to anticipate what is required is probably one of the biggest resources you can have. So again, I don't want to spend too much time on that question because we did cover it. It's more of a certainty question, I think, Although I said the practical application of that is being able to have an idea that it has legs in the marketplace, not just in your own mind as to what you think the marketplace wants.
Okay, and so the next question comes from Eric, and it follows on from this. You know, there's elements of this, but what he really wants to know is, how do we come up with business ideas? You know, specifically for a guy with a little startup cash and working full-time currently.
How do we come up with ideas? Again, depends how deep again you want me to go. So I'll try and keep this as fairly succinct, because you know, all of the information around quantum physics right now will tell you that, you know, Napoleon Hill, the great Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich, summed it up beautifully. He said the brain is a sending and receiving station for the vibration of thought. So the first thing is, if you want to come up with an idea, you've got to be in a state, a physical state and a mental state, that the kind of idea you're looking to attract is broadcasting on that frequency. If you're trying to think of an idea or spot a winning idea on Millionaire FM, and you're tuned into My Life Sucks FM, then I've got news for you. You're not going to be channeling through the right idea. But as a starting point, what I would say is that know what business you're in. And you said, well, I haven't got an idea yet. Well, bear with me. The business that you are in, my friends, is the business of solving problems. You are in the business of mitigating people's pain. Where there is pain, people are willing to pay money to pay away that pain. I don't like cleaning my own house, so I pay away that pain. Every single morning at 7 o'clock, somebody shows up at my house to clean the kitchen from the night before. I pay away that pain. I'm willing to give that away because I don't want to do it. My time is too valuable. So if you're looking for an idea to start a business, don't sit there thinking, oh, I wonder what idea I can come up with. Start opening up your radar to look for where people's pain is. If you can spot areas where people are complaining, where people are saying, oh, I've got to do this again, or if only that, or it'll dial you in. Now, on top of that, you obviously want to be thinking about areas that you're passionate or enjoy doing. So it's no good saying, oh, well, here's a way to be able to get rid of somebody's pain with this particular product or app or what have you, when you're not in the app business. You don't like software. You're not into trying to market through information technology. So tune in with where you are. So go with an area you're passionate about and start looking at where the pain is in that industry. And you'll start coming up with ideas of how to mitigate that. That's probably the best advice I could give in the time we have.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And we've got a question from Anisha. With the more success I attain, I find people close to me put me on a pedestal. Whenever I speak to them about it, they rationalize their actions and seek to remind me of the value that I have to offer. I appreciate the encouragement, but how can I steer them towards removing me from their imaginary pedestal so they view me as their equal?
Oh, beautiful question, Anisha. Beautiful question. Thank you. The antidote to putting somebody on a pedestal is, from your perspective, humility. Humility is one of the greatest characteristics that I see in any really, truly beautiful entrepreneur. If you're coming from a place, I said, growth and contribution. Now, if people put you on a pedestal, it's because, by contrast, they are minimizing their own sense of value or self-worth. And that's one of the biggest challenges that stops people from actually applying some of the stuff that we try to teach them to help them. So from my perspective, I can share with you, for me, again, in my early days as a speaker, in my early days as a businessman, I was trying to prove to you that I was more significant. And I would look at people thinking, oh, wow, they're much better, they're more better than me, people like Richard Branson, what have you. And really what shifted was when I spent a fair bit of time, as some of you know, in the Tony Robbins environment. I'm a trainer for Tony. I've spent the last 15 years going around the world working with Tony at his events and working with people. And it was some of the trainers at those events that really taught me how to get the best out of me without me putting them on a pedestal, which is what I did. And it was really what I aspire to do right now. And that is to hold up a mirror for other people's greatness. If I could get every single person watching or listening to this webinar to believe in themselves as much as I believed in them until they believed in them, we would change the world. Case closed. But the challenge is if people think, oh, I'm the guy with all the answers, which is why you're asking the questions, and therefore you don't think you have access to those answers yourself, yeah, guess what? I can't come home with you. Yeah, even in 3 days at the MBS, where we literally transform you to become people that are more independent. Yeah, after that, it's all about you being able to apply that, which is why we give a lot of support and follow-up to instill those habits. But I'm all about being able to hold up a mirror to show people their own greatness, because if they saw what I see, they wouldn't need to ask the question. That makes sense. So, as a role there, Anusha, with people that put you on a pedestal, light them up. Make a habit. In fact, again, another one to tattoo on the inside of your eyelids here, guys. If you want to play a game that everybody wins and makes you feel fantastic and really sets you up against the most of the rest of the ego-driven world, play this game. Play the game of raising the significance of others. See, if you can do that, you don't need your own significance, your ego does. That's all. You're already born good enough. I cover that on about every video I put out there. And that's my message. You're born good enough to be an entrepreneur. You don't need an MBA piece of paper on the wall to tell you, signed by somebody you've never met, to tell you that you can now qualify to start a business. That's bullshit. Instead, if you look in the mirror and see what I see beneath the faults, the insecurities, it's like looking in the mirror. What do most people do? They focus on, my eyes aren't the same size. I've got bags here. I don't really look that great. I've got some grade coming through here. I'm a little overweight around the middle. They focus on what's wrong. You stand up in the mirror and start laughing your socks off about how amazing you are and how this crazy thing we've got called a body that's always going to be changing shape is rent-free. That doesn't need any maintenance other than some basic stuff that's enjoyable. And you can go out and create magic in the world. So recognize people's strengths. If you see somebody putting themselves down, pull up a different mirror and highlight their blind spot that they're clearly not looking at that shows them how great they are in some area. Pay them a sincere compliment. Do something, cheer them up, change their focus. But let them know that they are better than they think they are. And you believe that with all your heart. Because I do, guys. I know every single person on this call has the ability to start an incredible business that changes the world, that can really touch humanity, whether it's locally, in your own family, or community, or country. It doesn't matter. And the potential that we have as people with this incredible rent-free thing called a brain, and this amazing rent-free thing called a body that we can apply the strategies with, is just so underutilized by so many people. And that's my gift. That's why I set up the MBS, to give people those tools and beliefs around being able to go do that. So, well done for recognizing that you're on a pedestal, and the best way to get other people to take you off it is by raising them up to the same level.
Fantastic information, Peter. Thanks for sharing that. And I think that rings true for quite a lot of people out there who start seeing some success. So we've got a question here from Alberto, and he's asked, how can I position myself as an expert in my industry?
Great question. And one thing I'll say is that experts get paid more than standard people. So if you are going out to the marketplace, one of the first things that I would recommend, and again, we teach this specifically at the MBS as part of what we call our core story on advanced sales and marketing strategies. We teach you how to position yourself as an expert, but the fastest way to do that is not to become just an expert in your product or service. In fact, most people aren't even experts in their own product or service. They have a general knowledge. But you need to be an expert in your product or service. But what would separate you from the crowd is to become an expert in your industry. Because most people aren't focused on that. They're focused on their own gig, their own product or service. So if you take somebody like yourself, Matt, you're focused on the internet marketing or digital marketing as part of your agency. So you need to know everything about that, obviously, in order to be an expert in your field. But to be a true expert in the marketplace, if you suddenly start, as I know you do, it's one of the reasons why we use you. If you have a situation where you are able to position yourself as an expert in your industry, learn about your industry, what's going on in your industry, then from that perspective, you will start being differentiated. And that's one of the main fastest ways to get clients or potential clients to see you as somebody who's an expert, because you're not just talking about your product or service, you know about the industry. You're not just selling cars, you understand the automotive industry, you understand pretty much everything you need to know about how the government legislation as it relates to cars, traffic congestion issues, body posture alignment in the seat that you sit in, and how the ergonomics affect your physicality. It's about the industry. So that would be probably the fastest way we could make that happen.
Absolutely, and maybe you could share some actual tools that people can use. I mean, for example, what I've been doing to position myself as the expert in my industry is that I've been shooting a whole bunch of videos, and the videos are on 50 shades of wowing your customers, how to increase sales by X%, and really just teaching people strategies and giving them tools and tricks that they can use in their business. Doesn't matter what their business is.
Yeah, education is critical. If you want to position yourself as an expert, as I said, while when the alumni come back, you have an opportunity to teach. So even though you may have been to the Millionaire Business School once, if you come and resit that and you sit next to somebody who is going through it for the first time, you're positioned more as an expert because you're there to help and start teaching. So by educating people, showing people that you're able to educate them, that is a great way to be able to separate yourself out as an expert. So don't just teach people about your product or service. Nobody cares about the features and benefits unless it's comparable to another product. But if you start, for example, if you put a video out, and let's say you're a painter and decorator, as an off-the-cuff example, if you start positioning yourself as somebody who is an expert at painting and decorating because you went to the best painting and decorating school, that's one thing. People expect that. But if you're the author of how to decorate your house in a way that makes you feel as if you have a home, not a house, all of a sudden now you become more of an expert. If you are talking to people about color matching and different moods in different rooms based upon productivity or relaxation, oh wow, he knows more than just how to put paint on a wall. You start positioning yourself as an expert. So educating people around wider areas of what your product does, and again, the industry itself, and educating them is a fast way to position yourself as an expert.
Fantastic, thank you. So we've got another question here. I don't have the person's name, but what he wants to know is, how do I get commission-based employees?
How do you get commission-based employees? One of my favorite strategies that I teach at the MBS is how to hire commission-only salespeople that are able to walk away from six-figure salaries to work for you on commission. Now, and again, let me just clarify this. Commission-based employees, we're talking predominantly salespeople. Salespeople have far more of a affinity for going out and earning what they're worth, and are used to bonus schemes, on-target earnings, and commission structures and overrides. The more they sell, the more they get rewarded. So commission-based employees are really your sales team. You're not going to get a commission-based personal assistant, right? You're not going to get a commission-based administrator. So let's just clarify it for people listening that it's really about people that are looking to sell for you, and that's great. But there's a certain psychological profile of people that would be willing to do that. But this is a 1.5 hour strategy on day 3 at the MBS, where I show you what kind of advert to run, what questions to ask to pre-qualify the interview, what kind of interview to run with these people, what to look for, literally step by step, so you can hire the world's greatest salespeople for free. And when I say free, I mean commission only. But one of the secrets to attracting them is to make sure that you have a big enough vision of what your upside is, so that if they were able to be as good as they are saying that they are, then the ability for them to earn a significant wage over and above where they're being recognized right now, or in a smaller opportunity right now, or a smaller commission structure right now, By contrast, you become far more attractive. Now, it doesn't mean to say you have to have it now. When I hired a particular guy, and I said, I tell you the story on day 3 at the MBS, but when you go out to hire these people, for me, it was a startup. I just lost everything. I just spent 4 days sitting around candles because they cut off my electricity and I didn't have the money for the bill. And I bootstrapped a new company and I needed a sales guy. And I needed a sales director because a good sales director will go out and hire your good salespeople. Don't make it complicated. Get the best people for the right part of the job. So I needed to attract a high-level sales director, and that's £100,000 a year, $150,000 a year for somebody who's as good as the kind of guy I want. He better be earning that, or she better be earning that, otherwise I don't want them. So, how do you attract that? And it was all about being able to have a vision for where I was going that was so compelling, so exciting, so juicy that they bought into that vision. Now, how do they buy into it? Speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. My congruency, my vision, my excitement, my passion had to be there. And I did. I created this vision, and when I shared it with them, they're like, wow, I get it. Enthusiasm, I learned this from an old mentor, George Zalicki. He said, enthusiasm is the least expensive but the most beneficial cosmetic in the world. Think about that. If you're enthusiastic and passionate about what you do, doesn't care what you look like, you become more attractive. There's an energy about you. And if I have this vision that excites me, I'm on fire with it. And again, there's a different energy if you're up to something than wondering about something. My fiance Thea, I loved her bits, but she spends a lot of money on creams. Why? Because she's a woman, and that's what women do. That's great. But I tell you something, she is radiant and beautiful without putting one drop of cream on, when she has that level of beautiful feminine exuberance that comes out. Doesn't matter what she looks like, doesn't matter trying to cover it up with wrinkle creams or beauty creams or whatever the hell she buys, I have no idea. But enthusiasm. So if you're enthusiastic and passionate, you have a specific vision for your business that you see so clearly that it's there, it's real. You know the color of the carpet in the office that you're going to be moving into 12 months from now when you expand. You know the songs that are playing at your Christmas party in a year's time. You have that much association. Then the salespeople are going to get excited. And if they see what's possible here and they can get a decent enough part of that so that it blows away their current position where they're not being recognized as much, I'm a great believer that I'll pay somebody what I think they're worth, and I'll give them the opportunity to prove what they're worth, especially when it comes to salespeople. So commission salespeople, you first have to have something that they want to leave their current position for. And again, it doesn't have to exist now physically, but it has to exist here. And you have to believe that as if it already exists. Hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Definitely drilling down into further than just how do I get commission-based employees. So Dahlia has asked how to be at 7-digit level without burning out or being afraid or overwhelmed, losing freedom and worrying to have to pay multiple salaries. How do you become a 7-digit entrepreneur?
We're talking the laptop millionaire type model here. Again, a lot of traditional business up until very recently, and still for many people today, especially in startup, is all about burning the candle at both ends. That's a game I know how to play. It's about the 130 hours a week. Now, there's a fine line here because effort does equal reward, but it's smart effort. A lot of people stop when it comes to thinking, oh, I've got to sacrifice my life and my family, my kid's birthday, and all the rest of it. Well, in today's world, it is a lot easier not to do that. You have 7 billion people, of which a vast majority are currently plugged in digitally on a daily basis. In fact, Facebook recently made an announcement that for the first time ever, they had 1 billion separate people online in a 24-hour period. Everyone you will ever need as a customer is already online. So being able to be smart around that, being able to resource up, being able to say, look, how do I use the power of digital marketing, digital media, virtual team players, where I don't need to go hire somebody on a salary for 40 hours a week when they're only, right now in my startup, I've only got 6 hours worth of work for them to do and they're twiddling their thumbs, and now I've got government tax to pay and national insurance, or all of the maternity leave red tape and everything else to go with it. I don't hire or employ people in my business model. Neither do people like Brendan Burchard. Neither do many other successful entrepreneurs. Or you have a small core team, and a lot of what you do you can resource out for literally cents on the dollar compared to what you would have to have. But knowing how to do that is an art form. Is it possible? Absolutely. But you need something that is going to pay away the pain for people, that solves their problem, that is available, that doesn't take a huge amount of your own capital expenditure, where you need infrastructure of shipping and everything else. I mean, Amazon these days, you can go to an Amazon-based business model whereby you can go and do a search on what people are searching for on Amazon right now. It could be something you've never heard of. Let's say, a certain health product. Raspberry ketones is a popular one right now. You can go and look at that. You can then go and find a company that manufactures it, white label it, have it shipped to Amazon, put an advert out, and be earning and selling money without leaving your bedroom. That business model exists right now thanks to people like Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. There's many different opportunities. Brendan Burchard, the Millionaire Messenger, is another great model. So it doesn't mean you can get lazy. It doesn't mean that there isn't going to be work to do. When you're in startup mode, like me, I've got so many things right now in terms of projects that we're excited about with the business. I'm in springtime, so I'm planting, so I'm engaged, I'm working hard, I'm going late, but it's inspired work. I'm so enjoying doing it because I'm taking my previous businesses, moving them aside, and now working on being able to help as many people and hopefully raise the consciousness of humanity in a way that can add value and create more entrepreneurs, which creates more business opportunities, which creates more employment, which creates better families, etc. So, on that level, I have a situation where, I'm busy, but I enjoy, I'm inspired. What you don't want to be is trying to kickstart the jumbo jet off the runway with no end in sight and in an industry you're not excited about, and fill in the blank. So, is there ways to do it if you don't have the infrastructure, the capital behind you? Absolutely. And again, all of these strategies we teach at the Millionaire Business School require virtually zero or very little money to implement. I'm big on that. I'm big on teaching you how to do things that you don't have to write a big check for. That way you can go out and make money and start to create and build your business now. That way you have a plan you can execute without being stuck there thinking, I need to wait for the bank to authorize the loan. That's going to give you more stress, not more momentum. So, does that exist? Absolutely. Is it an excuse for being lazy? Absolutely not. But get out there, find out what people want, find out what you can leverage through either virtual help, temporary levels of employees. You can get off things like Fiverr or people per hour, employee, 123 employee. There's so many resources now. It's just a fantasy Disney world for entrepreneurs. Oh, Matt, are you muted?
Yeah, sorry, I'm unmuted there. Here we go. So Kenta has asked us, all right, and I think this ties in quite nicely with what you've just gone through. He wants to know, what is the worst thing to do as an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. Might be good, just for time-wise, might be a good one to wrap down on that. The worst thing to do as an entrepreneur is focus on yourself. And again, this ties in with mindset, it ties in with strategy, it ties in with everything. Entrepreneur, as the worst thing you can do is to go out and build a business so that you can be rich, so that you can fill in the blank, so that you can sell as much as you want. Remember, you don't sell anything people buy. When you start focusing on yourself, you have very limited tunnel vision in your world. The German word for it is your Umwelt, which is your experience of the world. It becomes very narrow. When you start focusing on what successful entrepreneurship is about, which is being able to bring solutions, products or services, to many people in a way that allows them to do a fair exchange of value for you to get something called money and profit. So you're focused on how you can serve, not what you can get. I built a company I started in '97. I sold it in 2005. A very successful company, still going strong today. In fact, still a very big company today, called the Worldwide Health Corporation. And it sold natural health products, anti-aging nutraceuticals, Health is one of my passions. And yeah, I never set sales targets for the staff. I never set sales targets for the company. I never paid bonuses on sales. Now, we didn't have sales people that were commission driven. It was all over the phone, yeah, mail order, and internet. But what I did have bonuses for, and what I did pay out bonuses for, was the amount of letters that we got in, or emails, from customers who were satisfied with the product or the service, had something nice to say, or were blown away by what we did. That was our benchmark. Yeah, if we hit so many of those per week, there was more money in the pot to reward people, because that's what I wanted them to focus on. Not how can we get sales, how can we add value? And so the worst thing for an entrepreneur to do is to focus on how can I get, rather than what can I contribute to the greater good.
Fantastic, Peter. Thanks for thanks for sharing there. And on that note, last week we said that we were going to announce a winner. So on the note of giving and on the note of adding value, there is somebody who we've picked out of the list. How we did this was that I gave Peter a list of numbers to choose between 1 and I think there were about 189 people on the last call. And he randomly chose a number, and the person who came up is someone by the name of Andrew. Andy.v@blueyonder.co.uk. So he has won a ticket to the Millionaire Business School valued at £997.
Well, fantastic. Well done, Andrew, and thank you for whatever your question was. I'm hoping it got answered, and if not, I promise you all your questions will be answered a week tomorrow. It's a week tomorrow, Matt, for the MBS. I'm excited.
We've got the MBS coming up in a week tomorrow, Peter, and I'm very excited for it as well, and not only because it's the MBS, but also because of the results that people get when they walk out. So I want to run through, we've got this opportunity coming up, and there's been quite a lot of incredible questions, and it seems to me like people really want to know more. So I would like to invite everyone that's on this call, I'd like to invite you to come to the Millionaire Business School. Now, the tickets for the business school are normally £997, and you can see that on the website at petersage.com/MBS. But because you have engaged so well and you've taken the time out to come and engage with us, we really appreciate that, and we actually want to show you our appreciation. So for tonight, and this is going to be for people who want to take action, and we're going to run this special up until 12 o'clock tonight, and when you go on at 12 tomorrow morning, you're going to find that the offer goes straight back to $997. So we are giving the tickets, we're going to allow the tickets, and it's only going to be for the people that act now as entrepreneurs do, for £450. That's £547 off the total price. So what you need to do is that I have put up an offer there which says the Millionaire Business School. It should appear on the right-hand side of your page. Click on that link and then type in this promo code to get your discount. Make sure it's all in capitals, and you apply your promo code. You click through, you choose the package that you want, either the regular seats, which are further towards the back, the VIP seats, which are closer to the front and you get more interaction with people. You pay a little bit more, it's £200 more for that. And if you go for the Diamond Premier ticket, you get to spend one-on-one time with Peter and have lunch with Peter, and you get a much more immersive interaction. So I encourage those of you who really want to make massive change, and for those of you who have been through the MBS, come again. Our alumni always get special price, so if you do need that, mail us at genius@petersage.com and we will take care of you individually. But for now, the offer expires at 12 o'clock tonight. I've put the offer there. If anybody has any issues whatsoever, don't hesitate to mail us at genius@petersage.com and we will assist you through the process.
Yeah, I certainly won't be answering emails at Genius. I leave that to my Genius team. they deserve that title far more than I do. But guys, yeah, anyone coming, I just want to make sure that, come spend 3 days. I want to shake your hand. Yeah, my biggest reward here is your success. That's why I'm doing this. The testimonials are my payday, not tickets. So, please come, allow me to add some value. It would be beautiful to see there. Let's come have some fun together. And I'm recharged, I'm ready. We've got some special stuff for the game, and I'll be seeing everyone that takes action next week.
Thanks, Pete. And one other thing that we need to throw in there, because Peter believes so much in adding value that he's even given a guarantee to this course. If you feel that after the 3 days that you haven't got your values worth and you haven't come up with a plan and you don't feel like there's massive change that's about to happen in your life or that's already happened, we will give you your money back. We're not interested in having people who are not going to get the value out of that. If you really feel like you didn't get the value out of this course, come and talk to us, and we'll absolutely refund your money, because we're all about seeing you progress and making you move forward.
Beautiful.
So with that, yeah, Peter, and thank you for actually offering that and giving the discount, because I feel like everybody on the call has gotten huge value from the call and huge value from your insights. But on top of that, you've given them a fantastic discount on the on actual MBS.
As I said, I want them to come. I hope that they can handle 40 hours. We've just done one. For 40 hours is a whole different game. So make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you got your A game on, and we'll go play. And absolutely. And also just remember, it's not just the 3 days. We provide 3 months of follow-up to people, so that as I say, my passion here is that you get results. Not a manual. The manual is outstanding. We go through 103 pages of information over those 3 days and drill it into your brain in a way that you really get hardwired into the information. And then we put that into a plan you implement. But the implementation of that is where I also want to help you. So we put 3 months of follow-up every single week, whereby I help you with information that'll really put you into a high drive gear for that. Because otherwise, what's the point? So it's an experience. Come have some fun. Can't wait to meet you, hug you, give you a shake of the hand, and let's change some lives.
Fantastic. Pete, thank you so much for your insights. We really gained a huge amount of value from the bottom of our hearts. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing everybody at the event. Once again, if you have any issues, mail us at genius@petersage.com, and we will answer them. We'll get in touch with you directly.
Outstanding. And I think we're good. In fact, one thing I will throw out, because I did have a question recently on this as well from somebody that came through, and that is that if you can't make next week, if you do take action this evening, then I will honor that price, that ticket, for an MBS in 2016, but only if you take that this evening. And that way, there's no excuse not to be able to have next year be the best year of your life as well. So we'll need to know that that's going to be transferred over. We'll handle that through the email. But if you want to come, you can't make it next week, but you want to lock in that price, let's play tonight, and that's my gift to you.
Thanks so much, Peter. And we look forward to the next one, and look forward to seeing you at the MBS.
Awesome.
Have a fantastic evening.